So I've been reading this book. It's called Winning Converts by Reverend O'Brien. And it was written in the 1940s in America. And it's what's crazy to me is how it wasn't uncommon for some people to win one convert per year. And people had a much more active approach to winning converts. That's kind of the question. Is winning converts an active or a passive process? Because ultimately we should try. If we care about our family and friends who are fallen away, who don't have the faith, if we don't want them to go to hell, which is a real place, then why would you not expend effort and try to think and try to win the souls of the people that you love? So there's the people. That's what should drive us. That's what should motivate us. Is knowing that these stakes are real, that people will go to hell. And if you are not the one to try to win the soul and try to win people over to the right side, then who will? Maybe you're the only one who is a Christian or a Catholic that this person knows. So it's worth a shot. I think it's a worthy goal. I actually am going to set the goal to win one convert this year, and I'm going to try to do it. You can actually, it says in this book, you can actually ask God, you can pray for the grace of zeal to win souls. So I've been asking God for that grace. And I hope that I can win some converts ultimately. But the question of whether or not winning converts is an active or a passive process, Christ says, I will make you a fisher of men. And we can learn a lot about what it means to win converts by examining what it is to go fishing. Think about, have you ever gone fishing with your dad or your grandfather or anyone else? There is things that you can control and things that you can't control. And it's kind of a matter of optimizing the things you can control, doing your best, showing up, and you can do everything right, and there's no guarantees, but you're more likely to catch fish the more you try. The more you try different stuff, the more you learn. Do you have to be an expert fisherman to go fishing? I would say no, because how do you become an expert fisherman? You become a good fisherman by fishing, by getting your hands dirty, by trying stuff and seeing what works and what doesn't work. You might, of course, we're going to make mistakes, but if you allow that to deter you, what's worse, being afraid of making mistakes, your friend thinks you're a crazy person, or is it worse to never have tried, to save your friend and family? Do you really care about your friend if you never even gave it a chance, if you're not willing to stake your reputation by trying to win a converts? I think it's worse to not do it, to not take that leap, to not try. And that doesn't mean just do it blindly and zealously, but think about it, like when you're fishing, here are the things that you can control. Number one, the setting. You have to be able to get to where the fish are in the first place. Like you can go to the ocean, you need means to get to the ocean in the first place. Certain fish only bite in certain locations, so you have to get to where the fish are in the first place. Also, the time of the day. Certain fish only bite in the morning. Some fish are active at night. So you have to kind of study that and become aware of the patterns of the fish themselves and plan accordingly. And probably the biggest thing is just being observant, just like paying attention. Number two, infrastructure and equipment. You need to have the right gear to be able to reach certain fish. If you can't, some fish they're deep down on the bottom of the lake, or they're deep in the ocean, and you might need a deep sea fishing rod. Other fish are out in the open water, so you might need a boat to reach them, to be able to get to them. So that would be like the infrastructure, the platforms, the means. The internet is such a useful tool to reach people. You might want to if you want to reach fish that are deep in the ocean, you might want to learn about, start studying the deep sea fishing rods, and start learning which one you should use and how it works, and start studying that kind of thing, because you know that by learning about deep sea rods, you'll be able to reach deep sea fish. So there's like the infrastructure and the equipment. That's what you can control. Number three, the baits. Certain fish like different types of baits. You know, some fish like corn, some fish like worms, some fish like power baits. You have all kinds of different positive incentives that you can use. If someone, because people are, they're weighing their options. When they make decisions, is based off of what they think is their best option. So what if there's a secular world and then there's your church? Why should I become a part of this? What is in it for me? What is the positive benefit of it? Why should I buy into this? Is it true? Like, what is driving? What is having that understanding of what positively drives people and what attracts people? The beauty of the inside of a church, or the cohesive quality of a community. Like, there's hardly any community in the modern world. Those are positive things that will attract people. So have an understanding of what kind of bait you're trying to use. Number four would be the actual technical skill. If you're fishing, you have to learn how to cast, and you have to learn how to reel. If you're reel fishing, you have to learn. That's a whole nother level of actual technical skill. If you're fly fishing, you have to learn how to fly fish. You have to learn the technique, the skill. There is kind of an actual execution. You can have the right idea, but you can execute it poorly. And the way you learn the skill is by getting your hands dirty. You have to just start trying to do stuff, and you have to study. Just like anything else, you might want to study a little bit, and then you go out and try and practice it, see if it works, see what doesn't work, and then go back and study some more, and then keep repeating that process. That's how you learn any skill. So you have to learn, you have to be willing to go through that learning curve and make the mistakes and look like a fool a few times. You might look like an absolute idiot when you're trying certain things, but that's just part of the process of learning. So you have to, other things, I think having an understanding of psychology, sales, marketing, those things are also really helpful, because you're trying to, in a way, sell the faith too. And so I think having an understanding of those fields, it's not necessarily manipulative if you're working towards a positive end. If you're trying to convince someone why they should become Catholic, does that mean that you're manipulating them in a Machiavellian fashion? Or I would say that if you are trying to win souls ultimately, and it's not just for your own ego, then it's worth it to study these tactics, study marketing, study advertising, and have an understanding of that. Learn social skills, read How to Win Friends and Influence People. All of these things, read all these books on social skills, marketing, advertising. That's what I'm trying to do. Read books like this, Winning Converts. I'm trying to become better at winning converts, so let me find a book on how to win converts. So yeah, all those things are what you can control. The setting, the equipment, infrastructure, the bait, and the technique. So those are the things you can control, but then there's things that are outside your control. For example, you might be doing everything right, but maybe the fish is not hungry. Maybe the fish is full. It's not the right season. It's not the right time for this particular fish. You have no guarantees also at catching a certain fish at a certain time. Maybe you have your eyes caught on one particular fish, but that fish won't bite. It's so much of it is the Holy Spirit, and only the Holy Spirit can open people's eyes ultimately. Maybe it's the wrong timing, the wrong season. Maybe you scare away the fish and the fish goes somewhere else. You scare off a fish and then the fish goes and then bites somewhere else. So that can happen too. That's a risk, but I would say the reward outweighs the risk. So, ultimately God is going to be the one who allows that fish to bite. And I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. There's only so much that we can do, but if you're optimizing what you can control and you're trying to get better at fishing, it's a skill. It's passive and it's active. So the more active we can be, the better. The more experience, the more you're trying to do it, the better. The more you're studying, the more you're reflecting, the more you're praying, the more, and the passive aspect would be try and become a saint yourself. Like learn, square away your spiritual life, become a respectable human being, build your own credibility, just be a good friend. A lot of people, what it says in this book, a lot of people who are super intellectual, they're not going to be persuaded so much as what you're saying, but oftentimes people will be, their hearts will be moved because you show them love, you show them affection. And so, the intellectual is important, but having yourself squared away spiritually is as important or even more important. So, ultimately that's what you can do is just keep building your own credibility, keep building those relationships, try to be a virtuous person and a credible person, and those things will give you more winning power. You'll become a better fisherman in terms of the actual skill of fishing, but then also you'll just be a better person, which attracts people as well. So those are my thoughts. If you like this kind of content, leave me some feedback, please. I would like to do another review on this book, Winning Converts. It seems as if it's like an impossible thing to do in the secular culture, but I think it's something that we can actively do. So, if imagine if you did successfully win one convert per year over the course of 20 years, that'd be 20 people. Imagine this book. Actually, there's another story. There's a guy, he's like a one-armed factory worker guy, and he converts like over 40 people over the course of his career just working in a factory, and he just had a spiel that he would say to people, and he converted like 40 guys and then all of their families on top of that. So by the time it was all said and done, he converted over 100 people. So it's not impossible. There's so many stories and historical precedent for that being a possibility, and with the internet it's even more so. So I'm hopeful, and this Catholic revival that's going on, we have to be conversion minded. So I guess that's it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.